Hello, welcome back to Bame Farm. Today we're doing something crazy for us. We're mowing hay in May before we have a whole lot planted. But that's another funny story. It's been wet. Everybody knows it's been wet. It's been the story all over the place. Wet. And we're gonna have hopefully 5 days of no rain. But I'm getting ready to mow hay. And we're going to mow all the little patches we have at home, in addition to some cover crop, some of you might call them weeds, grass out in the field for hay. I guess it might be more weeds since we did not intend to plant it. They come back every year. It's great ground cover, don't have to do anything for it. They just grow on their own. Lovely, lovely weedy grasses. Cows will eat it. It's only a weed because they're more annual grasses. By the time mid-June rolls around, they'll be dead, and they'll be decayed enough it'll disc easy. But right now, they're very green. They make big knots in the chisel plow, and it's a pain in the butt to disc. Right now, the field I'm in, we call this the orchard. There used to be, a handful of apple trees out here. Unfortunately, we cut them down because they grew too big and were not very well kept. And this looks tremendous because of all the chicken manure we put out here. Well, the chickens pooped out here because I had them out here. I didn't spread any manure. The chickens spread it because they were out here laying eggs and doing whatever chickens do. Look up Joel Salatin to look up what chickens do out on pasture. Now you see the edge here, the difference. This is where we cleared the trees back a couple years ago. And I'll just end up bush hogging that off. Try to get these broadleafs under control. But at least it's nice to get some sunshine back here. It'll help the hay dry. All total, I'm sure we'll mow at least 10 acres between the stuff out in the backfield, way over yonder, and all these little patches. And I mean little patches. You'll see what I'm talking about. So let's go for a ride along and mow some hay. This field's always entertaining to rake, being so triangular. So we have a 474 New Holland hay bind. It does wonders. Only 7-foot cut. In fact, a while ago, before I started mowing a lot of hay myself, before I was driving tractor at 9 or 10, so it's been over a dozen years ago. They had actually downgraded. We went from a 9-foot to the 7-foot. However, this one has some nice features. Like way down here, we got stub guards. And those are much sturdier than the one-piece guys. However, it's a lot more expensive also to replace them. At the 2910 out, it's great for mowing hay, because you can see I've been laying out the windrows nice and wide. And the 28, well, we have it set out wide. That's mostly because of the rear tires. We couldn't have them in any narrower by swapping sides and flipping the disc for the rim to have it the other way. There wasn't enough room to get the fender between the tire and the roll bar. So I moved the front out to match, and it actually turned out to be great for mowing hay and doing some other stuff. So I kind of like the wide wheelbase. Well, time to go down to the next little awkward triangle we call the waterway. Had chickens down there too. It wasn't quite as evenly fertilized, but surprisingly, like the only hay I mow that has a lot of orchard grass in it, lovely orchard grass, talk about the seed head, is this little triangle. Most of the rest of the hay I mow is some sort of mix of fescue and a lot less orchard grass. Maybe some timothy every once in a while, but that's not a very strong perennial around here. That has to be reseeded. And a lot of the hay I mow is very low maintenance. I'm not like Wes Pandy, and fertilizing hay, even though I have thought about it. And then I put the chickens out here, and you see how well the fertilization does. It's super thick. Now I'll give you guys a look at the conditioning rolls, interlocking chevrons. Never have issues with them wrapping. If they do, I just stop, wait a few seconds, it'll unwrap itself. Typically that's a fescue thing. That's what I hate about all these mower ads. Oh, we're out mowing alfalfa or something easy to mow. Like orchard grass, timothy, that stuff's a breeze. Fescue, that'll put your mower through its paces just because it's so waxy and tough. Wouldn't say it's the greatest hay, but that's what I mow a lot of. So that's why we got the lovely old sickle bar. And anybody who says you should get a disc bind, well, guess what? I don't care. I don't want a disc bind. Too many more moving parts you gotta deal with. And you need a lot more horsepower. I'm mowing on 3 cylinders, probably the short side of 50 horses. Definitely the short side. But I am cruising along in 3rd gear on this thing, and with the extra tall rice tires, it moves. Yep. Let's go to the next field, guys. Okay, so we're back here at our cover crop of whatever we got going on. Brad's mowing it. I have the mower set really high. I might be able to take it down a little bit. And I tried to figure out what this is. My best guess, rough stem bluegrass. I was thinking a big blue stem, but that's more of a native grass out west. Rough stem bluegrass. And a nice wide open panicle for seed. That pretty well matches. It's not Italian ryegrass, I've seen that, and it's not downy brome. However, there's not much for blades down at the bottom. It's a lot of stem and a little bit of leaf. It'll produce a sort of a crown. It's more of a bunch grass, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't produce rhizomes. So it's not much of a sod type. However, we have so much that it looks like we have sod. I'll probably stop Brad on this next thing around, and maybe I'll put the mower down for him. It's smoother out here than I expected, and we're staying in the dry spots. It seems to be floating on top and not sinking in. But this looks pretty well taken over by grass. A little bit of the yellow mustard and a few stems left over from last year. We had pumpkins in this spot. I'm gonna set you down a little lower. I think you're plenty high. I'm gonna set Brad down a little bit more, make sure we get some leaf in this. Oh boy. Way down here in the tight darkness. There's a clip. I can pull it out. Got our safety on so this won't fall on us. It will fall. Okay. Clean out the grass. There's 5 holes. I mow a lot of hay in this middle setting. Sometimes I'll go down to the second hole. Ooh, that pad's warm. Must be something dry out there to slide against. Now it's getting my hand in here. Come on. Now that's one side. You can see we're leaving it pretty tall. Try to get a little bit more of that blade and that leaf. I've never had it in the first hole. There's not enough movement in this shoe to get it to that hole, and that's really, really low. That's like shaving it off at the ground, and you gotta have a nice, perfect manicured lawn almost underneath it to cut that short. Probably leave it at that, because I know there's some piles of manure and other stuff.